everyone. Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fire It Up with CJ show.
Woo!
Woohoo!
If we sound kind of somber, it's the first time ever I think I've actually recorded on a Sunday morning. So, with that said, if you've ever wanted to achieve big things but had no idea where to begin, then do we have the mind-bending, mind-boggling 1,000 steps show for you. Today we'll talk about stumbling forward, finding your way, and taking 1,000 little steps on your journey. That plus we'll talk about Jessica and my journey to babyhood, the power of the smorgasborg, running hills, skating snow, building processes, the power of baby doping, chocolate green smoothies, mice in the closet, Jessica in Mexico, oh my God, and how in the world one not so tiny number inevitably changes everything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to
I
shine?
am ready to shine.
Woo!
Woo!
Where
Okay,
do we begin, CJ?
I think we have to begin where tell me a little bit about what's going on with your baby.
So that is you went right to the crux of of at least half of our lives. Jessica's in Mexico today. I'm
Yeah.
so happy she's in Mexico today. Completely unplanned with current events. She's at a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat,
Hmm.
an intensive, which I think is going to really help raise her energy. She is literally right on the beach, poor thing, in Cancun.
Mm.
Got a little whirlpool bath thing right out her door, and then she can hop down, I think, one stair, and she's on the beach.
Oh, nice.
Palm leaves and tropical waters, though she says they're kind of murky this morning, but I guess that's just because of the wind. But
Mm.
it's a good place for her to heal.
Yeah.
So it was, I guess, 2 weeks ago, yesterday, 2 weeks and 2 days ago, that we found out that she had a miscarriage.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So, gonna cry on air. Didn't see that coming. Yeah. Everything in life happens for a reason. Everything. And we're convinced our little girl Hannah is spinning around up above us. And we'll be back shortly. We're calling it a running start.
Mm.
So, but it's definitely hit her harder than it hit me.
Hmm.
It's a spiritual journey, and we know everything happens for a reason. Um, but I can't even imagine what it's like to have a baby inside of you.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so it's been quite the healing process. Jessica's been up and down, understandably. For myself, my usual self, I'm up more than down.
Yeah.
That's just, I guess, my beingness. But again, I didn't have our baby inside of us. So
Right.
um, I've gotten some fascinating automatic writing on it, some fascinating learning. I actually got something a couple of days ago that was really cool because we journal and write to our baby who will be back. We're convinced. Um, oh, and on that note, the doctors used to say first you waited 6 months, then they said you wait 3 months. Now they actually say don't wait at all. You're actually most likely to conceive in the first 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
so
interesting. Wow.
after this healing process then, but what I got was quantum physics and babies, which is that your baby is always there circling, ready, waiting for the opportunity, and is a wave function in waiting until you conceive and then collapses into a particle. Uh,
Mm.
quantum
Wow.
mechanics 101 goes from a wave of infinite possibilities to a particle, although during the first and second trimester still exists between the two at
Mm.
any given point. And so I
Mm-hmm.
got, Daddy, don't worry, I'm here. I'm going to be with Jessica. I'm going to be with Mommy in Mexico. I'm going to be with you here. And as soon as the time is right, I'll be back with you.
Mm. Wow. So what's your healing process been like for you?
There hasn't been much tears. The most tears is here right now.
Wow.
Um, it has been I have such a strong faith that everything happens for a reason. I don't think I can shake that faith after what I've been through in my NDEs. I just know
Right.
it in my core, but it's
Mm.
still incredibly. sad. So it has been both, I guess the biggest thing has been how can I support Jessica each
Yeah.
moment of each day? And I guess today is the first day that she's not here with me. She flew out yesterday morning, so maybe
Right.
it's my chance to go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although there's so much goodness going on, but it has been the focus has been Jessica centric because I mean it's been a beautiful few years, but also a very hard few years. We were on the precipice, literally Lake Tahoe, 2000 and I think it was 13. I get all my dates wrong at this point. Where we're standing together, we've been hiking back from this beautiful waterfall, and I said, it's baby time, and and then 100 yards later, I'm in a creek. I'm shattered. I've got flight for life coming for me. I had stopped breathing, no pulse, and that took us out of the baby game for a couple years. Then she's completely sick with mold toxicity poisoning. That took us out for a couple years. She gets healthy. We move to North Carolina. It's baby time. Gets sick with mold again. We finally get here when we say we finally get here
Hmm.
in Colorado. Flames erupting on the mountain in front of us, quite literally hunkered down the house with four air filters going, now doesn't seem the time to be having a baby in the belly.
Wow.
Fires end, we decide to try. We try right away, get pregnant right away.
Mm.
It's awesome. And then another little bump on the
Yeah.
journey. So for Jessica, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. And so that has really been my focus. Lots of prayer, lots of meditation. After the first few days where the head was just too spun, and we were, up late evenings and just a mess, back to my automatic writing and saying, guys, help me out here.
Mm.
I'm just getting lots and lots of learnings. But it has really been focusing on her.
What do you think would be helpful for your healing path this week? Since she's going to be gone for a week?
Yeah, well, she's gone for 10 days.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay. Wow. That's
so
nice.
and so it's always a little intimidating with her gone, but this time we had she went home to New Jersey three and a half weeks ago. It was a
Hmm.
trial run for this. That's actually when the miscarriage started, is during the trip. We didn't know till she got back.
Oh, man.
Uh, but I was
Wait, so she went
impressed
to New Jersey. That's when she
to
got
visit
the
her
miscarriage.
family.
Oh, wow.
So while pregnant, and she knew something was wrong by the time she came back, and she had had a very telling dream, which I wouldn't share on air if she wants to, but she kind of knew. And so for,
Mm.
for a day or two while we're looking into things, I'm saying it's all right, it's all right. But part of it was the law of attraction. You think about what you bring about. I don't want to panic somebody with a baby inside of them. And part of it was the universal, no matter what, everything is all right. And I
Right.
truly believe that no matter what, everything is all right. So, but I got a trial run and I was impressed, if I can say that, yeah, this time around at how I handled. Usually I lose a ton of weight. I look totally gaunt when she comes
Yeah.
back. She had made a bunch of food, which she did this time around as well. And I made it through and was actually, if anything, stronger. It was the first time she left and came back. The studio was in better shape. The home was in better shape than
Yeah.
when she left. I've like stepped up to the plate for daddyhood
Yeah.
and for our show for taking things to the new level. So um, for this time around, actually, it's interesting. In 3 hours from now, I'll be leaving here as soon as this show is recorded, and I go to Aspen, and I have a feeling it's a turning point day in my life. In from an athletic endeavor, there's the me with the show and with every piece, but there's that athletic part. I was a pro athlete that just, it's part of me. It's part of
Right.
my existence. And later today, I am signed up for the first lesson on the first day of the year for cross country skiing season. And
Oh,
and it was
wow.
total flow. Last week we stopped off, they weren't ready. Yesterday I stopped off after Jessica's flight got delayed to leave. I pull on the door to the cross country center. It's locked. As I'm holding the door, they couldn't see, there were no windows. all of a sudden, click, it unlocks before me, and I'm the first person in the door on the first weekend for the first lesson. I'm the first, I'm the first person signed up. Like, this isn't flow. And, as a former speed skater, I'm going to
Yeah.
learn how to skate ski later today.
Oh.
That I have a feeling, and there are three sports that I'm playing with out here. There's one that I've got to get a lot of equipment for, so we're holding off, taking one thing at a time, which is you ski uphill with skins, and then you ski down. They call it ski mo for ski mountaineering or
I've seen
all.
that
And
happen, yeah.
I haven't tried it yet. The equipment for it makes downhill equipment seem obscenely inexpensive
Right.
because you
Because it has to
pay
be
for light.
super light, yeah.
So we're going to hold off for that one a little bit. Buy one piece. We came from tropical climates. We're trying to buy everything at once for the winter, So I've got my racing snowshoes on their way. I'll be getting my cross country gear, but I have a feeling, and I might be wrong. I talked about the power of the smorgasborg. I'm trying different things out, seeing what fits me. I have a feeling I'm going to fall in love with this sport.
Mm.
And, and it will be something that I will get joy of for the rest of my life to come. And it's rare where you can actually pinpoint a day. Here is the day I will try this new thing out that I have a feeling I will really love. Maybe I
Mm.
won't. Heck, I'm loving just running up the snow in the hills behind the house.
Yeah.
It's trying all of this out, but I have a feeling it's a turning point. Now, last year I did a lot of bicycle racing, which I still on a conscious level don't understand what the heck I was doing, but it was important on my journey. Now I paused my cycling training about a month ago and said we've just got to find ourselves. We've got to step back and understand. And so I went from doing cycling in the cold to running up hills to getting back tenfold until the snow hit last week on my skates and before the everything's now covered with snow. And I said, "What do you love to do? What do you really want to do? What's most exciting?" And I think I'm not going to race next year for bicycling. I'm pretty
Wow.
sure that's
What? How did that occur?
it's part of this journey, bad babyhood and daddyhood being a part of it, of
Mm.
not wanting a big fall on the bicycle, but
Mm.
also I've been looking at, and this has been something I've been working with coaching clients so much on the last few weeks, is we have Michael A and Michael B. All of
Mm.
us. You have CJA and CJB. And
Mm.
it's really easy to fall back into the default programming of CJA, even when you want to be CJB.
Yeah.
And so for some reason, I think I went back into my default programming. I raced in Europe for a few years, blah, blah, blah. And I think I went
In
back into
bicycling,
my,
you're saying.
yeah, in bicycling. I went back into that default programming last summer and was running the program. Now, I wasn't unaware. I was
No, you
learning
weren't at
each
all. You
step.
were very conscious throughout the whole thing and not pushing yourself beyond. Yeah, no, I don't think you're. You may have been going through the same exercise that you did when you were doing Michael A, but you were I don't think it's fair to say that you're Michael B because I was talking to you throughout the whole thing. Don't forget.
Yeah, so I was aware, but it was running some old programming and saying, why? What can I learn from this? Why am I feeling called to do this?
Mm,
And I think it was important for me to run that program and learn from it. But now I'm saying, is that what really serves you? Is that what you really want to do?
hmm.
And I was maybe a month ago, I'm out running shorts, flip floppy things on, which are actually
In the
made in your neck of the
snow?
woods, Luna
What?
sandals. And it started snowing on me. And it's freezing cold. It's snowing on me. I've got my sandals on. And I said, in this moment, I am having more fun than in any bike race last summer.
Just running in the snow and you're freezing your butt off.
It's freezing my butt off. And in
Wow.
every run I've had in the snow since then, I've said, this has been more fun than anything I did last summer.
Hmm.
So
Wow. Hmm. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it was more of a comparison when you went out and tried something new. There's just some, and what would you describe? What was fun about that process of like if you were to put yourself back into being, the snow is coming down, you're freezing, yet you're just having so much fun. What is it that's joyful for you?
free, it felt exceptionally free.
Mm.
It felt like I was soaring. And it is There's nobody to compare it to, so I could be slower than a mouse, and we'll get to mice in a bit. But I felt so much more capable and like I was experiencing living art. Like this is where I was sculpted and meant to be for this next period of my life, in that flow
Mm.
state. I know if I look at my little GPS, everybody asks Garmin Vivo Active 3. If I look at my Garmin Vivo Active 3, so, and no, I don't actually have a sponsorship,
Right.
good, or get anything from Garmin. I'll have to talk with them about this. Um, but it, I have one set of heart rate numbers for on the bicycle.
Hmm.
I have a different set of heart rate numbers, my aerobic threshold and stuff, when going up hills and running in particular.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I've actually had that since I was a kid. I was training at the Olympic Training Center. They'd do me on a bicycle. I get one set of VO2 max numbers. They'd put me on a treadmill. I get another set. It has to do with what our bodies were designed to do, capillary blood flow, muscles, training, all these things. For some reason, I seem to be better when you just throw me straight uphill running or something to that
Hmm.
sort.
Hmm.
And so I just feel this calling, this pull inside of
Oh,
me.
so
It's
this is when you're
when
running
I'm running. I just
barefoot in the
feel,
snow, you're actually going uphill. So there's
well,
something
yeah, I was
about,
going
okay.
uphill. In fact, it's a mountain bike trail where a day or two before there were mountain bikers starting the trail at the same time as me. I jumped past them running and did everything I could not to let them catch me. And I
Wow.
got to the hill a mile before them, turned
Wow.
around, and I'm coming back down, and they're like, dude, you're fast. And I'm like, I have no idea. It was fun. No
And they're like,
equipment, nothing
is
special.
that the same guy that mountain biked us in that really old bike? You're
Yes,
like, I'm
yes.
the same
See, I'm much faster when I don't have my old clunky mountain bike. Even with no bike, I'm faster.
guy. Truly, I'm an athlete. Okay, so there was just this kind of joy that thought, all right, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And it just felt like click, click, everything.
Yeah,
This is
so
what
I've
you're
been
doing.
I've been 2 or 3 times a week since the snow started. I've been running on these shoes that have these big rubber lugs on the bottom because I don't have snowshoes in yet. I've been running through the snow uphill a good 1,000, twelve
Wait,
hundred
but
feet up.
wait. So are you barefoot still? And then you have
I've
these.
gone from barefoot a week and a half ago, or no, I guess that was a month ago. So now I'm using, for those who want to look it up, Innovate, INOV-8. I'm not sponsored by them anywhere. Innovate X Talon 200s. They are their lightest shoe for what's called fell running, Fell. Fells are big hills in England. And there's
Wow.
races where they run straight up these hills and then they bomb straight down them on these muddy, ruddy knolls as fast as they can. And so the shoes are designed with thick rubber lugs on the bottom. It's like a true all-terrain shoe. It makes a trail shoe look like it was meant for road. This thing has big rubber
And
lugs.
is there any?
Yeah,
So is it like this thick of
a centimeter thick rubber lugs. And then the sole is not too thick because I like something as barefooty as I possibly can get.
right? Is
So it's
it weird
real.
for you to run like that? Because you haven't, although, or is it because you're doing that and the snow? It feels like, well, it's just a new thing.
It's taken a month to adapt. I'm still adapting, particularly because I haven't run downhills that fast. It's eccentric muscle loading. Your muscle has to slow you down. In essence, your muscle gets longer at the same time it's trying to get shorter. It's having to slow you down and then bounce you back at the same time. It's like jumping off of blocks. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went from a complete clunker a month or so ago, and I'm much better at it now. So it's been really fun getting into the downhill runs. Now, Jessica had stopped running when she went to New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
When she came back, she got a couple good runs with me
Mm-hmm.
before she went to Mexico. And her last run, right before the snow set in a week and a half ago on the downhill, um, again, it was as if the time off she had gotten stronger. And that gets into, I know we're
Is
jumping
that where
all
the
around.
baby doping is? I was like, what is the
Yes.
power of baby doping?
Well, you build up blood flow in your body to carry baby.
Oh,
And if baby goes away, then at least for a week or two, you're superwoman. And so
wow,
in the gym, she's come back and she's pushing weights she's never pushed before.
wow.
She's running, although she gets a
Wow.
little bit of a stitch because of the way all of the organs have moved, and I have to go back into position as her
Oh,
belly goes
right.
away.
Oh.
Um, but her downhills have been phenomenal. But I could almost keep up with her, and now I'm doing even better. But it's been amazing to see. She has so much energy and so much
And
strength.
she has the
And
same shoes on, right? The same kind of big
no,
tracking shoes.
she doesn't yet. Hers are coming in because it took me years of the barefoot running game to find anything I'd want to actually put on my feet.
Right.
So I figured out this shoe. I'm like, oh, thank God, something because I was forced to.
Yeah.
Boundaries are a good thing. Limitations are a good thing. Saying, well, Michael, you're going to have to wear a shoe this winter. I will find something that works. So the Innovate super flexible for the foot,
Mm.
but has the giant lug. So here's
Right.
our coming. We got hers in technically. It was through this new Google Express shopping thing, and they came in the wrong size. So
Oh,
now the
bummer.
right size are, are on the way for when she comes back from Mexico. So yeah, I'm learning how to do the downhills. I'm really enjoying it. Now I've got snowshoes made in Wisconsin. Boy, I'm talking lots of gear today. Northern Lights, Lites, Northern Lights,
You
the
should be
lightest
getting
running snowshoes.
sponsorships.
I got to. I got to. And just to geek out, you actually bolt her model. She got a Northern Light pair where you can just use a speed lace and put your shoe right into it.
Mm.
But
Wow.
mine, I got the extra light. You actually bolt your shoe directly onto the snowshoe, so the snowshoe and the shoe become one.
And that's what you're
And
going to be wearing today then for your first lesson?
well, no, today I'll be skate skiing.
Wait.
So,
Oh, wait. So these Northern Light, what are they again?
racing snowshoes for
Oh,
teaching how to.
snowshoes. Okay,
There
sorry.
are
I
three
miss.
sports in play,
So,
CJ.
sorry,
There's
just
running
can't
hills,
keep
which
up.
was on the Innovates until too much snow came. So
Right.
now I got the snowshoes coming in for the running hills. Then there's the ski mo, which I have no gear for yet, and we'll get to figure that out. That's like getting a small car to be able to ski.
Right.
And then today is in a few hours skate skiing.
Wait,
And
but skate skiing is different than. How is it different than cross country skiing, or is it the
Nordic
same?
cross country is your feet slide forward and
Yes.
back.
Okay. Oh.
Skiing, you push your legs out to each side as if you're skating, as if you're on inline skates or ice skates.
And are they really long? They can't
They're
be
a
that
little bit
long.
shorter. They're a little
Right.
bit
In
shorter
the
than traditional
in
cross
the
country
back
skiing.
or like
Whole thing is
overall?
a little bit shorter.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit stiffer. It has more of an edge on it to push off of. And the shoes, now this is somebody who's never done it before. I'm told the shoes, instead of articulating at the toes, which is more of a running style, which is more what Nordic skiing is, for
Right.
skate skiing, it's stiff boot, so that
Ah,
you
so it's
push
literally
off.
like it's like a gigantic skate, but with instead the blades instead of blades you have.
Yeah,
Interesting. So
exactly it.
you're gonna have a ton. Can you rent all this stuff or like?
Yeah, I'm gonna rent it for a few times, figure it out. Got somebody who's probably going to be training me, so excited. And so you're asking, what's my healing journey? Well, I'm throwing myself into the smorgasborg of the outdoors right now.
Sounds like it.
I'm not pushing away the emotions or anything. I'm working on that each day,
Yeah.
but I found something to charge me up at the same time.
Mm. What would you say are the emotions that are coming up when you think through your last couple of weeks?
Ups and downs. There's the incredible thrill and joy of being outside in the snow,
Mm.
which is just been tremendous. From the crying, I've got a runny nose. Bear with me here. So the pure joy of that and rediscovering myself has been rediscovering. We've been away from snow or from real snow for almost since we met 8 or 9 years ago. We ended up
Wow.
Maui and we were in North Carolina and a bit in New Jersey, but New Jersey wasn't really mountain terrain where you're like
Hmm.
snowshoeing and running hills. Um, so that rediscovery has been real joyous. Supporting Jessica has been um, putting myself in, I want to say daddy mode, but there's a better word for it, rock mode.
Mm.
Not rock as in pushing the emotions away. I don't do that, although we'll
Right.
get to explore this week. I am her rock. I am here for you. Whatever it takes, I am here for you. Throw out all the rules. You need to be in bed. You need to do this. You need to do that. What can I do to help?
Right.
So
Right.
that's been a big piece of it. Um, I probably have a lot more processing to do. It's such a mind bender. And I'm so present and future focused. So the future focus is we got a running start. When Jessica comes back, let's see. And, I've been joking with people. I've been saying, we said it was a solstice baby. We were all confused. We meant an equinox baby. That's what we meant. September 21st.
Well, the
What was
two
that
of you
baby?
will be charged up in a serious way. She'll have just been through the Joe Dispenza event and be like on fire, really, just super charged energetically, and you will too, having been in a completely different environment, getting charged up from being in the snow. I just find that fascinating. She'll be baking in the sun, frolicking in the water. You'll be frolicking around in the
She,
snow, getting both of you getting energetically kind of rebalanced, charged up.
yeah, she also has a dear friend with her who's been a coaching client for quite a while who is on her healing journey.
Mm,
And so the two of them are tag teaming this as well. So I think Jessica's going to come back superwoman
yeah.
in many, many ways.
Has she been able to fully grieve, or will she be able to grieve with her friend there, who she feels like she may have to support because she's a client, or
I don't know what her grieving process is like, whether she's gone through so quickly a full cycle of grief right now. You will never forget, you never fully heal that wound, ever, 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 ever. But
yeah.
um, I've watched her had more ups than downs, particularly in the last few days before Mexico, not having anything to do with Mexico. The only reason I'm able to share this with you now is she's felt comfortable starting to share with people.
Mm,
Uh, it's still in her. It's still, I think she would have an exceptionally hard time talking with people in public about it.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think most people would. Yeah.
but I think we went to the doctor on Thursday, and she was green lighted that when she's ready, we can try again. And she's, I think, been diving into that. So there'll
Wait,
be healing.
what's green lighted mean? Does she have
I
to have
mean,
certain, you said
no,
tiny
the
numbers, is
doctor
that
the doctor has said it's okay when you're ready.
right? You can just keep on,
Work.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so Jessica's been working on, like, what supplements did I not quite have in order before? What pieces of the puzzle were good but weren't great? And like we've set intention. We did a ceremony last year with the total eclipse. We paddled out on a lake in South Carolina for the totality, and we had done ceremony and prayers and all this stuff to set intention. But I think we're going to now have ceremony and prayer before each time we try to conceive and
Oh,
really take
beautiful.
things to a new level. And so I think that's been where a lot of the focus has been. So
Mm,
that doesn't fully answer your question
yeah.
as to what her grieving process will be like. Um, I can't actually fully answer that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's hard because there's not necessarily, when my father passed away, I really cried a lot. And then there's a point where you think, for me, where I thought, I literally, if I cry more, I'm just gonna like evaporate and turn into like I just can't cry anymore. Like literally, everything was sore from crying, and then I just didn't want to keep on thinking about his death, and so I I basically just started throwing myself into work. And I was working at MSN, and at that time it was a really old model of much like AOL, where people would host communities online.
I remember
And
that.
yeah, that's how old it was. And we had started MSN, and people wanted to set up their electronic shop or community on MSN. And we had received boxes full of proposals that no one had ever gotten back to any of these people. There were just these gigantic boxes and boxes of proposals. And I thought, we need to get back to these people. Like, we need to say yes or no, or ferret some, there may be some things that are interesting, or minimally say no so that we can respond to all these folks. So I got back from my dad's death and read through every single one of those proposals. I went back, I said, I'm just bringing these home because I can't be in the office right now. But I took all the proposals, they were spread all over my floor, and there were like yes, no's, maybes. Then I went and triaged the maybes, and it was like a process. But it did kind of kick me out of it. And it's interesting because I was thinking about my grieving process as I was thinking about your own possible grieving process, and that it's taken a really long, it's been unexpected times when something will just trigger. It's like this well, and then boom, and then it kind of the walls go up, and then boom, and it's literally happened over the last, I don't know, my dad's been passed for like 26 years. It's been just kind of back and forth. And what's interesting about it is that what's beautiful about that, like the long journey of grieving, is that that person is always in your heart. So they're always there. So I guess they're always there in your heart. So I've had just crazy, like Gideon's, I think I told you Gideon's mom died. And that created a whole new configuration. And it's interesting. So his mom died, and when she died, it kind of reconfigured the whole family. Like something was free as a result of her passing. And then it's crazy. So in the last, then I heard about your miscarriage. Then my uncle died, and then my aunt was diagnosed with lung cancer. So it's just been like a spinning degree. And then I have a friend who is went in for kind of a routine operation that went sideways, and he's been just bleeding out for like a couple of weeks. So it's been kind of an up and down period myself for for just hearing of all these losses. And it's funny because I wasn't really like, I was like just numbed out, like just completely like numbed out. After I heard my aunt had lung cancer, one of my favorite aunts had lung cancer, I was literally just numbed out. I just came home, slumped down on the couch, and just said, I don't know, I just can't do this right now. So my energy did go down. And then it's literally been going up and down and up and down. And one of the things that I've learned from my own experience of this kind of up and down through losses within our own family, very different than your own, but still loss, is that the pain that you have is so tremendous when you experience those losses. And then the only thing that is like the panacea to that pain is love. Tremendous, tremendous amount of love. Like the love has to be greater. Your self-love to yourself, love for other people, just love, love, love.
For Jessica, love, love, love.
Yeah, and then the love in some ways has to be commensurately larger to hold. And it's not like it's different because I think my relationship to pain is a little bit different than with anger or, with anger or shame or guilt. Those are the kind of emotions when I have that are kind of, I try to move past quickly. It's like, okay, let's try to ferret this out. And with the pain, I'm being patient with the pain. Like I'm not trying to kick it out. Like, come on, you've been in there long enough. Time to go. It's like, okay, the pain is here. It's not going to go away necessarily until you shift, kind of shift into love. Like, okay, this has been really hard. I love you, all those kinds of things. And someone once said to one of my people that I interviewed, said to me that they were talking about relationships and breakups. It's actually not. This is my friend John Burney. Said in one of his podcasts, he said, breakups make the heart grow stronger. And I thought, that's beautiful. I'll have to remember that. And I like understood it cognitively, but now I understand it through going through this loss, because when you do lose someone, there is just so much this missing and sadness. And, and, and then within that, the missing and sadness is love. Like, it's just incredible amount of love. That's what you have. That's the essence of missing. It's because you have that love. So when you focus on that love and think that love will always be there, even though that particular physical manifestation of that person is gone, like the love is always in my heart. Like, even though my dad has passed, the love for him is always in my heart. And what is the workout for your heart is to feel the pain, and then just like you're going uphill and working your little tush off, right? Your heart is just getting stronger and stronger to deal with the pain.
It's interesting that you say love, because that has been where I've been going to. Actually, the relationship has grown so much stronger just in the last few weeks. I didn't know the relationship could grow stronger. I think it's a life process. It gets stronger and stronger and
It
stronger.
does.
And then there are probably punctuation marks of total, why am I here? And then stronger and stronger and stronger still. Um, but the closeness, there's so much more closeness. And she's mentioned it several times, how much closer and more love there appears to be now.
No.
And so we are shifting and going to that love. And it's interesting for the grieving process. When we stay in the place of love, everything's great. Then the fear comes up. Maybe this whoever was here with me will never be back. Maybe I won't see them ever again. And you go to a place of fear, and then you double back around. It's part of this journey, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's when the fear comes up, I think that's the workout. That is
You're
the
right.
workout, right?
That's when the pin is putting drop down and you got to lift.
Exactly.
Or the hill just got steep.
Yeah. I mean, my girlfriend, I had basically hit some rock bottom, I'd say, on Tuesday, and then like came back up. I had this phenomenal guest who wrote a book about writing a letter to his mom.
Cool.
And he was taking a class in college about meaning or something, and he wrote this, and one of the assignments was to write a letter to your parent and tell them how much they meant to you. And he had a very close relationship to his mom. Not so much with his dad, but he was thinking, like, this person, my mom, means so much to me, and then I want to write and tell her all the things that she means to me. So he sent the letter out to her, and then a couple days later called her. She had received the letter, and she's like, I did receive the letter, thank you. And then walked out the door and proceeded to get hit and died in a car accident. So he was like devastated for a while after that happened. But that happened when he was in college. He's now
But
probably
he
in
got
his
to say
40s.
what he wanted to say.
Yeah. And that happened in college. He put that idea to rest until recently. He's now in his 40s. And he wrote this book about the importance of writing letters and his journey throughout of how that whole experience, like from the time that she died onward, is in this book. And then he decided, kind of an intuitive pull, to just take 3 months to travel across the country. He literally started in Seattle and just started driving eastward, and talking, and he talked to 60 groups, some of which like were organized, some of which just kind of came along his journey. And so he went to 60 groups of families, churches, retirement homes, like just young book clubs, just everyone. And he had them write letters, and he was saying that he was just raw from the emotions from being on that trip, and we were talking about the pain, and I said, "How did you?" Because he said that in the workshop, people were writing about things that he didn't expect. Like he wrote it ostensibly to like write to your loved ones that are alive, but people were writing to their loved ones that had passed. People were writing to themselves and saying, "This is the part of me that wants to tell you something that you need to know about yourself." And then people were talking about the parent, writing letters to the parent that they had the most troubled relationships with. And he said just the letters were phenomenal. One was by this woman who was someplace in Central America, and she was like raped and imprisoned, and she wrote a letter of forgiveness to
Oh,
those
wow.
people that had done that. So, and they were reading these letters, and he said it was just literally, he was just raw with emotion from being in that experience. And he did say that it was love. Love was the container that helped, first of all, these emotions to be held, in a space. Which I'm sensing that's probably what you did when, I'm sure that's what you did when you were with Jessica, is just providing like a really strong container and centering and grounding and love. Because when that happens, then I think people they can
Mhm.
release the fear, release the anger, release the shame, release this, whatever the sadness, they can release it, because that's the holding space that I think all of us need. So yeah, it was interesting just hearing, but I went down and then I was up, and then I talked to a friend yesterday, and she said, "Oh, I've been so down this whole week." She said, "Why don't you tell me what made you shake you?" Because she said, I was talking to a girlfriend and she was all happy and la 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 la. And then I went to mine and I said, "Oh, I'm feeling awful." And she explained her feelings, and her friend was feeling exactly the same way, even though they didn't present that way. And so she said, "Why don't you tell me your thing?" And I said, "Okay." And she's like, "Because it helps me." And I thought, "Okay." And I did. And then I went sliding back down again. I was like, "Why did I do that?" But what's interesting is there's the ostensible pain, right, for me, which was the pain of just all this incredible loss. And then the real pain for me, like even underneath that pain, was the pain that I didn't even realize was there, which was the fear that when my mom had her brother and sister die within 2 weeks, 6 years ago. And then just as we were burying her brother, her sister announces that she has lung cancer. So it's like the same exact weird thing. We don't know. She probably will live for a long time, but it's still this like
My
double
my
trauma.
I called my parents and let them know I didn't want to tell them on Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah.
you got the whole family there, and I chose not to on the phone when they were in Thanksgiving. I told them a couple days afterwards. I remember my mom then sending me an email going, "Did you know on Thanksgiving?" Sorry, Mom, didn't respond to that one. But then the next day we got some news, which to me was a massive blessing, but is in
Hmm.
the same family of life is life, which is we found out my dad has a tumor growing off of his
Oh
kidney, but
no.
it's encapsulated, and they believe they can take care of it without a problem. So he's going to have surgery this week. So
Wow.
I let them know one day we've had a miscarriage, and the next day it's your dad has a tumor, but most likely encapsulated. And I just went to, wow, talk about gratitude.
Yeah.
Talk about being appreciative for what we have in this moment right
Yeah.
now. Because you never know with life. You never, ever, ever know.
No. And the weird thing about it, it's just like almost like this Buddhist journey of timelessness, because that nothing is ever permanent, because throughout all of these things where we buried Gideon's mom on the day that my dad died, like it just happened coincidentally. And then my uncle passed away at the day that my niece or nephew got engaged. Like there's this kind of like
Yes,
cycling.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
and it's like, why the heck is happening, except that it's just life, right? Life is happening. and there's life and passing and birth, and and it's just, and it's really, if there is no time, then there is, like, in some ways there's this timelessness to this, that is just, this is a cycle of what is. And so that in some ways has provided at least a framework to think about all these things. But it is interesting because you go down and you go up and you go down and you go up. And it is the fear that is the thing that kind of, oh, because when I went there, I'm like, well, all these people are passing. My mom's going to go, like, let's say that my mom had 10 more years to live. She now has like 5 because the trauma of all of this probably like cut her life in half. And then that's what made me sad. And then I thought, well, I got to get on top of like writing this letter, so it's all this kind of back and forth, back and forth. And so I had to write my thing out. It's like, well, I guess I wasn't truly finished grieving. And my friend
I
kind
think
of
it's there
making
for
me,
life.
yeah. Well, I guess what is it? It's a form of love, an
Mhm.
odd form. You know what I mean? It's the missing someone in the presence of that thing. It's a form of love that's always going to be there in your heart. So every now and then you're going to hit that. How can you hit that and not, I don't know, drag you down into the fear part of it,
I
or
think you
allow it to
get
drag you down and be okay with that's just where you are right now.
be okay with where you're at. Don't stuff anything down ever, ever, ever.
Yeah.
But then say, what can I do to use this energy? I'm remembering Don Spence. He's like a physical therapist. Helped me when my back was hurt years ago. Former pro cyclist, and he was a spin instructor. And
Hmm.
he would always, you're in spin class, and you're going as hard as you think you possibly can go. And at the time, I didn't really like the line. I get it now. And you're going as hard as you can, and he would go, anger is an energy, one gear harder. Transmute the energy. When you go to a place of fear, how much can I crank up the love? Jessica said before the flight to Mexico,
Mm.
she's like, I wonder if this experience or how much, this has taken years off of my life. And I said, no, with the amount of love that we're bringing to it, how many years is this going to add to our lives?
Yeah. And strengthen. I think, like, it sounds like, so if I do believe what I witness is really true, and I, because I've witnessed it over and over again. Just, you have a relationship, and when one person leaves the relationship, something happens with the, it recalibrates the relationship that was there before, which I definitely saw with Gideon's family, which I don't know exactly what's going to happen with my uncle's family because I wasn't very close to my uncle, but everything kind of shifts around, and it sounds like things shift around with Jessica and you. I mean, became unbelievably, like, because you guys are already so close, you became closer. So yeah, I think that everything shifts. So you have a couple other things on this list.
Yeah,
The one
well,
not so tiny number,
I'll
and
segue from there to a giant shift, and maybe we'll even end on this note. But when you talk about recalibration, and we'll talk about processes here in a section, second processes on grieving, we have just crossed the 1,000 show number. 1,000
wow,
shows. All of this has happened at the same time. Of course, that's that whole cycle of life.
yeah, congratulations, wow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I remember, 2 years of abstinence, being in Jessica's childhood bedroom with two separate mattresses as a married couple.
Wow.
This whole Babel journey, that was not the time to start the family under her dad's roof.
Exactly.
Um, Good Asian family, not the time to start. But
Exactly.
um, it's such a mind bender. And you want to talk about recalibration. First off, if I go back to where we're moving the bed around in her childhood home, in her brother's former bedroom, we're moving the bed around to fit in a cheap Costco table, folding table. I'm still using it here now.
Yeah.
To set up the equipment to record on. And I remember like my first interview, I think it was Dr. Fred Allen Wolf from
Mm-hmm.
The Secret and from What the Bleep Do We Know, and how nervous and scared and green and things weren't quite working out with the equipment, just had to learn. And if somebody had said you're going to do 1,000 shows, I was a professional bicycle racer. I didn't do 1,000 bike races. I don't think I've done 1,000 anything. And I think Jessica said, when you're a parent, you'll have more than 1,000 days than you're a parent. And I'm like, that's true. And I
That's
don't think I've
definitely
done
true.
1,000 anythings. If somebody had told me that, I would have just hid under the covers or under the bed and said, it's too big of a mountain. And I was actually getting nervous over the last few months coming up on the 1,000th show,
Wow.
just because the number just seems so monumentally huge. And now I look forward and I say, and we had a beautiful show with Mitch Horowitz. And if you
Mm.
haven't had him on the show, you have him on many times. Love him, love him, love him.
Yeah, I have them
But
on coming up in a couple of weeks, I think, or
perfect.
months.
He he's awesome. Either which way that you get him on. Um, I think of the next 1,000. First off, my neck snaps back, my head snaps back, and I go want to go hide under the bed again because it's still intimidating. But I know it will all change, and this doesn't mean the show's ending. Nothing of the sort. I feel I'm more excited for each show than I ever have been before. I'm more excited for each book than I've been before, for each guest. It actually, instead of being burned out by this experience, it's lit me up.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, things will change. I don't know what that is. I don't pretend to know. But once you are faced with such a number of 1,000, you go, what can I do differently?
Mm-hmm.
What are the processes I haven't put in place? We had a great guest on a couple of days ago, Ajit Nawalka. He was the CEO and co-founder of Mind Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and a beautiful, beautiful gentleman. And he was talking about in his book on entrepreneurship called Live Big, and I recommend that book for everyone, whether you're going to be an entrepreneur or you're just an entrepreneur of your own life. Um, he talks about asking the question, what can I do so I never have to do this task again?
Mm-hmm.
And in that 1,000 shows, we've been on a rocket ship where we have done a lot of the work ourselves. We've gotten out of some of the work, but there's still a lot of it that we have done ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And now looking forward, I'm going, my God, I want to write. I want to teach. I want more time with Jessica. I want more time, more family time. I want to do things differently. And I don't want to do any of the tasks that are not what makes me shine.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do to shift things around?
Mm-hmm.
I don't pretend to know, but I'm calling 2019 the year of love and the year of leverage. It's going to be
Mm.
close. It's going to be family time. It's going to be more love between Jessica and myself. We will have a baby in the works. I'm convinced of it. If not have that baby, more love there, but also leverage.
Right.
What can we do to create processes so we only do what makes us shine? And then I can step back and have those good meaty hours that I'm not working to say, where do I want to sail the ship?
Mm-hmm.
More on the business than in the business. Because right now we have been in it
Right.
24/7.
Right.
And that gets to shift. So I'm really excited about that. And I don't even have to consciously do anything. I don't have to say, okay, Michael, it's process time. It's leverage time. That number 1,000 is in my face, and each show that uploads from that would be 1,002, and we've already passed 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. Each time we'll be saying, Michael, what are you doing differently? Michael, how can you shift things? Michael, what can we do to get you to step back?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's exciting. It's an exciting time. I think I don't know what time I hit that state, but it was when I was something I had when I was doing predictive index and I started actually ramping up the amount of work and clients and I thought I can't do both of these things, so I just have to ramp down the show. And I took away a lot of the administrative stuff. I used to write blog posts for every one of those. I like ended up not doing those anymore. And although they were nice, they helped actually have more pickup for those shows. I just couldn't. Yeah, and I used to do more social media. I don't do that much anymore. I have to get those processes back online. So when you hire someone, they can do tell them that there's additional work for them to do.
Got it. And we are it's one of the things Jessica has been working on the last few weeks is learning how to train people to do some of these jobs because both of us are going, wait a second, what's most important? Now the show, that is to me, that's like our calling, or at least my calling for my gift to the world. And I will
Right.
keep doing that. It'll morph, it'll change, but that is like what fuels me more than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But what can we do to take care of our hearts more?
Yeah.
And that means clearly get out of more of that busy work. And so she's been making videos to train people. She's been working with somebody, a beautiful soul on a big piece of this puzzle. And we're just going to keep integrating all of these pieces and figuring it out. And that I think has actually been part of her process too for healing, which is over the last 3.5 years since she started the show. She's the producer, but she said, I never intended to be the YouTube uploader or titler or thiser or thater. And you know what? This whole baby experience and everything going on, I don't want to do those pieces anymore. I have to do what serves my highest good.
Right. Absolutely. It's funny. I think you guys could create a business of just creating a setup where you train people how to do this and then just charging people money to handle all of their work because honestly it's so much work. No one who does these shows wants to do any of that, but you have but I did that a long time ago. I don't do it anymore because it's just so much work. But once you do that, you literally could create a business out of it because there's so many people who are doing these shows and that don't want to do that either. So
Stay tuned and find out. We will be building these processes because, like, like my mentor, Jack Burton, he passed away a few years ago at 93 years young. And one of his last acts was actually he got us out to Colorado to visit him, and he wanted us. Our relationship was real rocky at the time, so this was actually 5, 6, 7 years ago, and he wanted us to go to a monastery in Snowmass, Colorado, and he actually wanted us to give up what we were doing and go volunteer at the monastery for like 6 months. He
wow.
needed us to step back because he felt we were so off track.
Right.
And he felt that, Michael, you are meant to speak and share what you learned with the world. And that is your thing, to write and to speak, to write and to speak, to write and to speak. And I'm in communication with him more or less on automatic writing on the other side. And he feels we're very much on track now. But at some point, I get to pull back. And really, I've written books while we've done the show. Nothing have I been able to get to completion
Oh, okay.
because I'm running the show. And so I get to find a way when I step back. How do I get a ghostwriter in or a team in? 1,000 shows, the amount of information that just wanting to ooze out. This is why all my coaching clients are so lucky, and yours too, because of the number of guests you've had on. The stuff that's just trying to ooze out of our ears and just wants to get on the page now. I know this next step, and I'm told it's in about a year from now. 2020 is when book after book after book after book after book starts with me. But I get to get all these processes in place to allow me to do that. And saying, no, you can't write. You've got to just focus on the show. Not acceptable. I can hear Jack right now saying, damn it, Michael. And actually, he's in love where I am right now, although he's always saying, take better care of baby doll.
Oh,
But he will be, if in a year from now I'm like, yeah, we're at 1,002 or 300 shows. Nope, haven't written yet. Nope, still. He would not be happy with me at all.
okay. Well, now we have a new 2019 goal. I'll have to think about my 2019. I haven't really thought about that. I'm going to have to start getting clear with what I want for the next year. Yeah, so
So
you
yeah,
have some clear goals already for your 2019.
I am not a New Year's resolution type of guy at all. I think those things are flash in the pans, but we can set intention over the weeks to come, the days and weeks to come before the new year. We can step back, starting with Thanksgiving. We passed that last week. Each day ask ourselves, what do we want to see for the new year? How do
Right.
we want things to change? What would be a good theme? How do I build the micro habits? That's the
Right.
challenge with New Year's resolution is this giant macro thing, which is exciting. And it was something I talked about with the G2. There's a difference between excitement and a passion or a calling and building a routine to make it sustainable.
Right.
What do we build over the next month or so? Think about every single day, when we wake, when we sleep, everywhere in between. How do I want to get out of the autopilot of 2018 and my whole life up till this point and really consciously step forward into the new year?
Yeah, exciting. Woohoo! That's an exciting goal. So anything else before you take off on your first class?
I really got to take off. If I open the closet door right now, I have a fish tank in there, a 10-gallon tank, which until today, for the last 2 weeks, has had 6 rescued mice with our no-kill. We've had a little no-kill traps,
Oh,
and one
wow.
of the mice got caught in the trap and lost part of its tail.
Oh,
And so we brought it in to heal it, added a few mice to it. Then the snow came, and we couldn't release anybody outside. Now we were up till 6 yesterday. It went down to maybe below 0 last night. I thought all the mice were gone for the winter. 2 or 3 more mice showed up in the trap. So now I have 8 or 9 mice hanging out in my closet right now. They stay in the closet overnight so the kitties aren't near them. I'll take them out during the daytime. I've got a cover, a mesh cover on top. It's designed for lizards, but it'll work for mice as well, and clips. And I don't know what I'm doing, CJ, because I don't want to start a massive mice colony. I have an absolute no-kill policy. I'm not.
aren't they
Don't
going to
worry, anybody.
populate too? They're going to make little
That's my
mice.
big concern now, is how big will the colony be when I can release them? We had a group till 2 weeks ago. We had an earlier group where I managed to take a large styrofoam container and cardboard box and carve out a hole in it and get some time-released food, don't even ask. And I set up a whole outdoor, or what's the word for it?
They're like in a ski chalet. They're loving life. They're
Oh my
like, this
God,
is
yeah.
awesome.
Well, we know they were working and modifying it until the snow hit, but then I think they had buried underground by that point. But it gave them the time to figure it out. Now that we've got hard snow on the ground, I don't know what to do with this group of mice because I can't just take them from
No
indoors
idea.
and say, here, it's 0 outside, have fun. But if I keep them here till springtime, the is it like 9 mice day is going to be like 50 or 100 mice.
Now you have to have like individual homes for each of them. You have to have like a 9.
I do say part of our big life goal has been animal sanctuary. We've wanted to build one. You can tell we do it with the hummingbirds, with everything.
Yeah.
We have all these deer hanging out now because we've been trying to take care of the deer as well and the raccoons last year. And I, to me, a mouse is a small dog. It's a small rabbit. It's just another mammal. It's another life. And we would take care of every animal. So I don't know what we're going to do.
I have no idea.
The closet.
I'm never bored with you, Michael. Never.
Both ways, CJ.
Okay, so that's our closing. What to do with the mice?
What are your mice in the closet?
Exactly. If you would like to have a mouse this Christmas and you live in the Colorado area, they make great gifts for kids. Mice are so cute. Kids love mice. Go to a pet shop store.
No, I don't know what they would do with it. And
No,
these
they
mice
sell
in
mice.
Tennessee,
They sell mice and gerbils.
yeah,
and-
but they also sell mice as food.
Oh.
Reptiles. These are outdoor mice. These were meant to be wild little creatures who are exploring.
Yeah, you don't want them to be
and playing.
domesticated. Okay.
They're meant to be outside. So, but what do I do? I'm looking at like tiny little bare ground underneath a tree back there, but it's 0 degrees. They're in a 60, 68-degree house. I don't. We will figure it out, CJ.
Oh my God.
So that's all I've got from here. Healing, leverage, love, over fear, feeling the emotions, taking your 1,000 steps. And maybe we'll talk about this more next week about how we've built this show. But if we had thought about 1,000 shows, we wouldn't have gotten started. Instead, we tripped and stumbled our way forward and let perfection completely go out the window and said, let's just see what we can do. And with boundaries and having our back up against the wall, we made it work.
Yeah, I think the best thing about the radio show is if you ever had perfectionist tendencies, they just go right out the window.
That's the challenge with training new people. Right? Is so you get in, you want to do, and we only want people to work on the show who want to do the best that they can. But there's a certain level of the tsunami is just going to keep coming.
Yeah,
You
well,
have to let it go and have
yeah,
to let it go. But what a great lesson for all of us.
absolutely. If you can just let go of the perfection, the idea of like having a timeline, having technology, and guess, there's so many variables, and if you can go, whatever, I'm just going to do the best that I can. And I mean, there were times when I did this one, someone was interviewing for me for TV, and it was literally like, okay, we were trying to like, okay, where's Skype? Okay, do this and click on that. And she's like, you're on. I was like, okay. So, and I hadn't heard even the question. And I was like, oh, and I just made something up. And because I knew the first question she was going to ask. And so I just answered what I assumed was her question. I didn't even know what it was because I didn't hear it. I didn't have a camera. Nothing was there. And the whole interview was like, just, I couldn't even see her, so I was like staring into some blank screen. I mean, it was just hilarious. And, I was live on TV, so that's the kind of stuff that happens.
You just triggered a thought. Maybe it's a fun one to end with. Years and years ago, good decade, just about a decade ago, I'm doing an interview with this guy, Dan DeRue, from it was either Fox or WB channel in Denver, and it was about barefoot running, and we're in this gym, workout gym place, and he turns the camera on me, and all of a sudden, boom, live, camera goes, red or something, and he goes, Michael Sandler, tell me about barefoot running. And I froze and I lost it. And even that just makes it extra special.
Did you just crack up laughing, or what did you do?
Yes, I completely cracked up, and then I was able to pull myself back together. But I just totally did not see that coming. Michael Sandler. All part of the journey.
I love that. It's all part of the journey.
So on that note, any last words before we let us go?
No,
I'm going to make a sprint for skate skiing. It's a punctuation mark. Jessica's laughing already because, I'm a great skater. I'm an okay skater. We'll say I'm an okay skater. But there's a lot of coordination with poles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're going to pick it up right away. She's so much better of an athlete than me. So with that said, anything last?
No, I'm good. Have fun.
So, live life. I'm thinking of a little nephew who is always going, what the heck? It's a what the heck of a journey. Be with the what the heckness. And just enjoy the journey. Up, down, sideways, forwards, backwards, step forward onto your 1,000-step journey. Go to love and crank it up every chance you can. But when the fear comes up, when the dark emotions come up, don't push them away. Lean into them. They're a part of life as well, which means I've got some more tears coming up as well. And above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woohoo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.